Hey guys, what's going on, LBHT crew? B, what is going on?
I just remembered to change the backgrounds. What's going on?
I saw that. Good save, good save. Shout out
Yes.
to everybody showing up here on a Wednesday night. Happy Wednesday. Hope your week is going well, but if not, hopefully it gets better starting right now. Look, we are here. We're on the cusp, B, of the start of the regular season. All right, everybody's excited. We have one more week of preseason football, and then the real deal begins. All right. Shout out to everybody that's coming through in the chat. Andre Mears is here early. Says, "What's up, LBHT? What's up with you, Andre?"
What's up, Andre?
Thanks for coming through. Yes. Raver Ron is here. Says, "What up, LBHT? Is the Mayfield Bank of America commercial edition?" Oh, listen, they named Baker the starter. All right.
Listen, y'all got your own QB issues to be worrying about. I heard that you can pay Tyler Huntley a fraction of what Lamar Jackson's going to cost and let that man walk.
And you get a fraction of the production. Shout out to Yolanda B. What's going on?
Up,
Says, good evening, LBHT. Thanks for coming through, Yolanda. Ravens online on gatekeepers. Our man Hendo says, LBHT, we in here. Yes. Shout out to you. MDT Sports in the house says, what's up, guys? What's up with you, MDT Sports? Thanks for coming through. Don C says, what's up, Brodny and Jose? What's up with you, Don C? All right. Yeah, all right. Y'all coming in here. Get yourself settled. Look, we're going to discuss these last games. And it's not so much about the games, more so about the teams. What are you looking for from the teams? What we're looking at going into the regular season. We got a little basketball to discuss, B. There was something that happened yesterday. All right. What's going on, Just Allo? My man KD said, hey, I was just kidding, guys. What's up, Mr. J the 6? Yes. KD said, I was just kidding, guys. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to stay put. All right. We're going to discuss that. We're going to discuss, is it a D-Weezy? What's up? Is it a temporary thing or does he mean it? We'll discuss that. We'll get into that. All right. But before we start the show, before we even get to that, what's up, Keenan Ricketts? Thanks for coming through. Look, we are streaming live on YouTube, Twitch, maybe. I saw a little message saying Twitch might be a little glitchy. If you're watching on Twitch, right now, it's a little glitchy. Coming over to YouTube or Facebook, B. We back up. All right. We're back up on Facebook. Okay. So you can watch us there as well. And also Twitter. Make sure you're following us at all those places as well at LBHT Show. Okay. If you're looking for a super chat, okay, there are two ways we do super chat. Right below B, $ LBHT Show. That's the Cash App right there. Okay. Also, the pin link that you see in the comment that will take you to our stream elements. Both ways, you leave your donation, leave your comment, and you'll get a nice animation right next. There we go, to my face, right around there, right by the logo. Okay. All right. We got a lot to discuss, and we're not trying to be here for 2 hours. Okay. Hashtag no 2 hours. Davon, where are you, Davon? When Davon shows up, I want you to put that in the chat. Hashtag no 2 hours. Okay. No 2 hours tonight. Sea Iron Addict, what's up, man? Thanks for coming through. All right. So let's get started. But first, we like to start every show with a Black History fact. And B has a Black History fact for you.
Yeah, so I mean, we talk about a lot of discrimination and just the things that have happened to Black people in this country since even before it was a country, right? And the ways that the not just the citizens but the government as well tried to hold down Black people in the U.S. I just wanted to before we jump into the actual fact, just read a excerpt from an obituary here for Michael Goggin, who passed away on March 31st of this year. Says he was a proud Fenwick Friar and Wisconsin Badger, an adjunct professor at Loyola University School of Law. He was a celebrated prosecutor representing the people of Illinois and Cook County, and he was the definition of honor, legal talent, and true friendship. And I read that he was a lawyer in Cook County, which is where Chicago is. It doesn't seem like anything special there, but I only reason I know who that is because he was a state attorney in the late 70s, where they had at a time when they had the 2-ton contest going on.
2-ton contest.
The 2-ton contest. That was a little friendly contest amongst the prosecutors in Cook County to see who could be the fastest to convict and lock up 4,000 pounds worth of people, right? And I know a lot of people on the surface of that will say, hey, that's what they do, right? And it's just kind of a friendly little incentive thing. But obviously that would lead to the prosecutors bending the rules a bit, and you had them, hiding evidence, allowing witnesses to go on and lie on the stand, things like that. And the reason I bring it up is because obviously, as is always the case, the Black community bore the brunt of this 2-ton contest to the point where they behind closed doors referred to it as N-words by the pound. In the prosecutor's offices there. And Michael Goggin had done an interview after he left saying, he didn't think he did anything wrong. And it's, I read the obituary, and it just stuck out to me how a person who was involved in that kind of railroading Black people, they would specifically target heavier Black males, to move ahead in the rankings.
Yeah, right.
And you heard in the obituary the very picture of honor and legal talent, and like there's no mention of it.
Right.
And it's a reminder of it doesn't really matter in this country what you do to Black people. It's always going to be washed away. It's always going to be forgotten. This is something that happened in the 70s. It's not something that was back 200-300 years ago. It's something I'd never even heard of until a few days ago. Last week when I saw it on Twitter, posted an excerpt from a book that just kind of mentioned it in passing. So yeah, I just wanted to highlight that, and I think a lot of people don't know that actually went on, and you just kind of assume that people are. People in the government and people in the criminal justice system are kind of working by the book and doing things the right way. They're there for the right reasons. But, in Cook County, like I said, you had the prosecutors bending and breaking rules. They had to overturn several hundred cases from that time period because of prosecutorial misconduct. And again, mainly aimed at Black people in Chicago.
And also, if you think about it, that happened in the 70s. And no real acknowledgement of, yes, we did this. This was disgraceful. This is horrible.
Right.
And we need to do better. If they were doing that and they just kind of like, whatever. What do you think is going on right now?
Yeah. That attorney that I mentioned, Michael Goggin, he went on to a private practice where, and he was practicing law for up until, I believe, right up until he passed away. That law firm is still operating in Cook County, Goggin and Associates. Like there wasn't any blowback. There weren't any consequences or anything like that.
Right. If there's no consequences for those actions, what would stop somebody from doing it? The conscious?
Right. Because and he was so open in talking about it because like he said, he didn't think he did anything wrong. Even though I mentioned they had overturned a few hundred cases from Cook County, 6 of them specifically were his cases, which was more than any other prosecutor at the time. But he said nobody told us to cheat, nobody told us to do this or that. I didn't do anything wrong. We were just prosecuting cases. So
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Like
and keeping a tally called N-words by the pound.
Right. And it wasn't that secret, right? Like that's one of those things. Like, I guess we shouldn't say it in the public, but it is what it is.
But we all know.
Yeah. Look, Raven Ron said Captain Chesapeake was still in the club in the 70s. Shout out to Captain Chesapeake if you grew up in the Baltimore area, you know who he is, or if you're old like just Aloe, who had to tell us about it, and Hendo. All right, okay, all right. So man, that was an interesting Black History fact. Thank you for that one, B. And shout out to Yolanda. Yolanda said, I dedicated my career to doing right. So many wrongdoings in the profession. Well, I appreciate you, Yolanda. All
yes.
Right. Yes. Shout out to Rahib Ali says, Black people will always be great. We just need to come together, fight and strive together. # Black love. Appreciate that. All right. Is the screen work for everybody? I don't know. Is there a problem with our screen, Garnett?
Garnett said he was having some issues. It sounded like in the Discord there.
I don't know. I see us on YouTube. Doesn't seem to be a problem. If there's a problem, just let us know in the chat. Where are you watching? Are you watching on Twitch? If you're watching on Twitch, let us know. I see a couple people on Twitch right now. Okay, Davon says he's good. Davon, thank you for coming through. I need you to put hashtag no 2 hours tonight. Hashtag no 2 hours. Okay, get that going. Hashtag no 2 hours. Thank you very much. Coach said he's trolling. Okay. All right. So where do we want to start, B?
I guess we can start with the best tight end in the NFL, Isaiah Likely.
Hold on, there it is. Hashtag no 2 hours. Yes,
there we go.
There we go. All right,
yes.
All right. Okay, so look, the Ravens play the Commanders. This is an annual thing around here, and even though it's preseason, the battle of the Beltway is real. Okay, and that's a game that neither team really wants to lose, even in preseason. I wish they just made it an annual game in the regular season. The stakes would be extremely high.
The NFL's not interested in having marquee matchups throughout the regular season.
Yeah, I know. I went to the game last year. That's where J.K. Dobbins got hurt. Actually got it on tape. But yeah, so this is the last game. I don't know who's going to play because every week they just kind of like, oh well, maybe we'll see. I thought I heard them say Lamar might play in this game, but
I would doubt it.
I doubt it. I don't know. I was gonna say, is he gonna play regular season? I don't know, but yes, Isaiah Likely is who you're referring to. B.
Yes,
he had an excellent game last week, and I would like to see him continue to do that again this week. He doesn't have to play as much, right? He played a whole first half. I don't need to see him play that much. He looks like he is a starting caliber tight end. I think we're going a little overboard on how good he is right now. Like, I hate when we see somebody that shows a little talent, shows a little promise, and we say he's special. He's gonna be he's gonna be one of the top tight ends. We don't need a number 2 wide receiver. We got a number 2 wide receiver. Look, man. Look, He looks like he's a starter caliber tight end. That's a start, and it's good to have him in that number 2 tight end spot. He might be able to do some damage there. But, look, he has to prove it. Okay?
Yeah.
Like, we're at the point now, everybody on this team has to prove it. Okay? Have high expectations. That's for sure. This team has to have some high expectations. But I need to see more. I like to see him go out there just for like a quarter, maybe not even a quarter. Just go out there for a few plays and, get a couple catches, get a couple reps, and then come out. Who needs to play this week? Who do we need to see step up this week? Is Tyler Linderbaum going to play? I think he's back at practice, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Tyler Linderbaum needs to play because we need him out there week 1 healthy. All right, so he needs to get out there. J.K. Dobbins, I don't think we saw J.K. Dobbins at all, but he's cleared, isn't he?
I believe he is, but he's still he looks to still be taking it kind of easy in practice. I don't think that he's going to be playing in the preseason, but I don't really think J.K. needs it. J.K.'s fine.
Yeah. Keenan Ricketts says Boyle, Kohler, Duvernay, and Prochet will never have a performance like that, even if it's the preseason.
That's not nice.
Look, Kohler's hurt, right? So we don't know. He might be good. We don't know. I'm not sure when he's supposed to come back. He had a sports hernia, right?
Yeah.
So it's unfortunate for him, but I said it early on that this is looking like a Mark Andrews and what's
Hurst.
his name, and Hayden Hurst situation where Kohler was drafted, Hurst was drafted first, and Mark Andrews just came and took that job from Hurst when he got hurt. And Kohler was drafted ahead of Isaiah Likely, and he got hurt. And Isaiah Likely is shining, and it looks like he's not going to give that job away, right? Mm-hmm. So, Kohler has a lot of ground to make up. He's gonna have to come in and just really the stamp that he gets, he's gonna have to do something with it. That's the only way he can kind of stay in the hunt. But Isaiah Likely looks like he's not giving that up. So it is what it is. But look, if we got 2 good tight ends, that's a bonus we needed. Now, for the people saying that we don't need a number 2 wide receiver because of that, I disagree. And the reason why you're saying that is because we don't have a number 2 wide receiver. Right?
Correct.
Who's number 2 on this team, guys and gals? Who's number 2 on this team? We know Rashad Bateman is number 1. Who's the number 2 receiver on this team? Type it in the chat. I want to know your thoughts. I know we brought in Demarcus Robinson. All right,
yes, sir.
He has to play too. We gotta see him play, see what he can do.
You've seen him. He won a Super Bowl. He's a winner.
Yeah,
he's a vet. He's got all kinds of production, more production than everybody in Baltimore.
What's up, King? Thanks for coming through, King 95. Thank you.
What's up, King?
Coming through, and shout out to Brandon Buck that's in the house. Yes,
up,
yes. Yolanda says they're slowly working Jay here back into the lineup. Yeah, I understand that. I mean, got to get some play, right? Free Indeed says Duvernay. Okay, all right. Raven Ross says Demarcus Robinson. I was waiting for that. The guy we just signed that hasn't practiced yet. He's gonna be the number 2 receiver. Yikes! And shout out to Anonymous says thank you for another most excellent show. Thank you, Anonymous. And if you want to be awesome like Anonymous, you can hit up that Cash App right below B or that pin link in the comment. That will take you to our stream elements. Both ways, you can leave a donation, leave your comment, and we'll read it right on the show next to my face. That's how we do our super chats over here. Yeah. All right.
Bay Raven says Demarcus Robinson.
Okay. All right. Demarcus Robinson.
Mr. J says Victor Benjamin. It's going to be it's Benjamin Victor.
Yeah, you got the name, Ross. So that's not a good sign right there.
It's going to be difficult to be the number 2 when he's unemployed.
Benjamin Victor was our sleeper pick, right, to make the team. It's not looking good for him.
Bridges was number 2 after the first preseason game. True.
He was.
True.
And now nobody's talking about him.
Yes, Coach. Was.
Yes. What's up, Tanja? Hey, Tanja says, hey, Jose and Brodny, what's up, my friends? Thanks for coming through. Please don't be driving while you're typing that.
Oh, Lord.
Garnett says, we do this every year, man. Sign a veteran, and then he instantly becomes the number 2. History will repeat itself. But you see what I'm saying when I say, hey, I told you I didn't see Prochet making the team, right? Because of this. He's hurt now. He's not playing. We got hyped about Shamar Bridges 1 week. Now Isaiah Likely, maybe he can play wide receiver, right? Maybe he could be the number 2. And we got Demarcus Robinson, right? So it's that easy to come in there and just take that spot, it seems like. Yeah. I don't know when Prochet is going to come back. Right? Prochet was having a good camp. Right? I don't want to take that away from him. He was having a good camp. It looked like he was going to stay. He's going to make the roster. He probably will still make the roster at this point. But I don't think it's a lock, right? He's not playing. Other guys are stepping up. Who's that kid from the Citadel? Raleigh Webb.
Yes.
He had a nice catch. That's somebody our friend Eric had told us when we went to the camp to take a look at him. He had a good athletic profile, and he showed us some of that. I think they like some of these guys. So they decide they want to start stashing some of these guys. What I can see is maybe Prochet makes the team, and he might be the annual, you're on the IR list, right? Like you get tagged for IR so we can keep you and you don't go anywhere. We don't want to cut you, but we don't want you playing either. So which comment are you looking at, B?
Andrews, Bateman, Likely, Demarcus, Duvernay. I'm off today, guys. Good.
Oh,
Good.
Well, the thing is, yeah. I mean, that's not bad. The 2 of those are tight ends. Who's your number 2? Duvernay? I guess Duvernay would be number 2, right? I think Duvernay is. I think that's who the team is going to give the first shot at. Is Duvernay? I think that's the one that they want to be number 2. I don't know if he's a number 2 guy.
No, you know that he's not.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest. He had a big jump in snaps from his rookie year to his second year, and no jump in production. You know, he produced about 200 yards both years. We know he's not a number 2 right now. And I mean, if we're being honest, he probably won't really ever be. But he's a great special teams player and a guy who you can get a few touches on offense. Realistically, This is the thing with the Ravens fans. They're in love with potential, just in love with it. Okay, you're talking about. I mean, Bateman hasn't even proven that he is a starting NFL wide receiver at this
That's
point.
The thing.
Right?
That's the thing.
We're all just kind of going along with that, and we think he is. We think he's going to be a good wide receiver.
Yes.
But he hasn't proven it yet. Yeah. But out of the rest of the guys, you're talking about Tylan Wallace, Devin Duvernay, James Prochet, Shamar Bridges, Mekhi Polk. Raleigh. Was it
Webb?
Webb. Sorry, Raleigh Webb. Not one of them has ever done anything in the NFL. I mean, some of those guys are rookies, obviously, but none of them have produced anything. So we can't look at a list that has one guy who you have a good amount of faith in because you saw him play for 12 games and he looked pretty good. So he's a first round pick. You expect him to play well. Okay, you got that.
Yes.
You can't look at the rest of the list and say we're fine because you have absolutely no idea what any of these guys are going to be. And it's all just what they could be. We're doing the same thing with Likely, right? You're taking the absolute best that you've seen from Isaiah Likely and saying that's what he's going to be every single game, and it's never the case.
Hey, and shout out to our guy OTR Mike, 1/3 of Ring Kings podcast. Make sure you go over there and subscribe as well. He says, "Leave it to Ravens fans, ready to dub Likely the next Antonio Gates." Funny thing is, his play reminds me of Antonio Gates, right? Not saying he's going to be Antonio Gates, but the way he the way he moves. Man, I always say like he's like a smooth route runner. Yeah. That's Antonio Gates, right? Antonio Gates wasn't like a quick cut guy or anything like that, but he was smooth and he used his body to go up and grab the ball. I see some similarities there with Antonio Gates in his style of play. I feel good about him. I like the way the way he's playing as a rookie, right? He looks a little bit more polished than the rest of those guys. And I think playing in that number 2 role will benefit him and the team. Yes. Oh, and look who's here. Shout out to Boogie Down.
Yes.
What does I say? His message cut off there, B.
Oh, my bad. It is Likely has higher ceiling than Andrews. Thank you for the donation, Boogie Down.
No, he doesn't.
Listen, I'm not going to get into what ceiling is a made up thing, right? It's not any kind of definable thing, but I won't even say that it's not possible that he could be better than Andrews. I won't say that. Like, anything could happen. He could come in and eventually turn into that guy, but
he could be. Yeah,
we haven't seen anything to indicate that.
What you're saying is he could be better than Andrews, and maybe, but ceiling to me, that's usually based off of their athletic profile. I don't think he has a better athletic profile than Andrews, right? So no, I don't think he has a higher ceiling when it comes to that. And shout out to our brother Suge Knight 323 says, "What up? What is up, LBHT crew? It's a still conspiracy. Oh, it's a still conspiracy out here. If you know, you know. All right. Speaking of number 2, Usman drops to number 4 in the rankings. Oh, all kinds of shots tonight. Wow, Suge. Okay, spicy Suge in the house. I want to hear Jose go off. The Kobe is ahead of Usman. Brodny, we get in that Modern Warfare 2 remastered, right?
No.
Much love to you both. Hey, thank you, Suge. Okay, we did a live stream for the USC event where it was a shocker. My man Kamaru Usman got knocked out in the final minute. He was dominating the fight, and it was a great knockout. I'm not even mad. Shout out to Leon Edwards.
Kamaru wasn't even mad. He went on IG Live and he was congratulating him. I mean, it was an incredible knockout.
There's a lot of respect between the two. I mean, the lead up to the fight, they're very amicable towards each other. So I don't think he's upset at all, right? They're running back. There's a lot of respect. But Kobe Covington is not in any kind of conversation. He's already gotten beaten twice by Kamaru Usman. So I don't care. If Usman goes on a five fight losing streak. I'm still putting Kobe Covington below him. Okay.
Kobe Covington being ranked ahead of Kamaru Usman is what they call a Travis mockery. It's complete nonsense. So the UFC rankings don't mean anything.
Yeah. All right. Let's read some of these comments here. Let's see. Duvernay doesn't even run pass patterns in practice. It's all jet sweeps and trick plays.
which is fine. Like, he's a 3rd round pick. He's really he's fast. He's strong. He's out there always looking to make a play. He's always trying to gain extra yards. And we've seen him make plays, right? Even on offense and in special teams. Not everybody is going to turn into Stephon Diggs.
No,
maybe that's his role. And if you had an offensive coordinator who was competent in his job, he would probably be great in that role.
I agree. You don't have to make him something he's not. He can do great if you give him the proper role. I agree. We said it from his rookie year. He looks like a player that wants to make plays out there, right? Get him in open space. Get him. Those sweeps. Get him those slant routes. Those screen plays, because we don't do screens. I think if we threw a lot more screens, you would see a lot more work from Duvernay. He can make plays for us. He can make plays for us if you get him the right plays. Shout out to Shaheem, man. Thanks for coming through. Appreciate that. Deshaun's in the house says Ravens fans like potential more than talent, and it's sickening.
Is that the case, Deshaun? Because the last time I checked, you were asking me for Cam Akers for Isaiah Likely.
If you don't know what you're talking about, he is talking about our fantasy football league. I tell you, if you reference the fantasy football, you got to let people know. You got to let them in on the.
I don't need to let it in. Listen, I'm incensed. All right, it's such a ridiculous.
Shout out to Anonymous says, how does Mr. Jackson feel about his wide receivers and tight ends? I think he loves his tight ends. I know he loves Isaiah Likely. Obviously, he loves Mark Andrews. Wide receivers.
Well, listen, I bet he loves them too. I bet he does, because this was always my impression with Cam in Carolina.
He loves them. He doesn't trust them.
I bet he does. They have bad wide receivers in Carolina, right? But when you're looking at Cam Newton, you're talking about a guy who came from Auburn, where they didn't have any offensive talent. None of those guys made it to the league, right? And he was always the best player on the field, no matter who they played. No matter what, whether he was at Blinn College, whether he was at Florida, whether he was at Auburn, he was the best player out there. And so he got to the NFL, and he was still the best player out there. And he was like, "Oh, this is just the way football is." Lamar's coming from Louisville. Ain't none of those guys in the NFL. He's just, hey, this is kind of how it is. These guys can play. They're getting the wide receivers in here. Maybe this is just how it is. I think he probably is still somewhat in that mindset. Like, yeah, he loves these guys. Sure, it'd be great to have Antonio. I know Antonio. Sure, it'd be great to have Jerry Jeudy. But I like my guys.
I don't know, man. I think he will. I think he would like to play with a more talented wide receiver, right? But he's not. He's never going to throw his guys under a bus. Now, this is interesting right here. What do you think about this comment? Shout out to Mikey. He says, "Face it, guys. Our number 2 is our number 1. Do you think how good do we think Rashad Bateman is? Right? Do you think he's a true number 1, or he's just he's more of a number 2 guy that will fill the number 1 role, because we don't have a true number 1?"
Well, it's interesting that you went there, because you could take that in several ways, right? You could take that talking about Rashad Bateman. You could take that talking about Isaiah Likely over Mark Andrews. You could take that talking about Tyler Huntley over Lamar Jackson, right? All the backups. I mean, depending on who you ask, Deshaun, you could take that as Gus Edwards over J.K. Dobbins, right?
We're not even going to address that Tyler Huntley nonsense. I mean, that comes up all the time. There's always going to be Lamar Jackson slander, and it is what it is. Shout out to MJ. He says, "What up, LBHT crew? What's good, guys? Thanks for coming through, MJ."
Yes.
All right. So, okay. Well, here goes Sugar. You know who makes plays? George Pickens. Oh, here we go. You
know who makes more plays than both of them? Alex Bachman of the New York Football Giants, who had 11 catches for, I think it was 122 yards and 2 touchdowns in week 2.
He did. I want to say this. This is why I kind of want you guys to temper your expectations on Isaiah Likely a little bit. Get excited. I don't like telling people not to get excited for guys that are showing something, right?
Mm-hmm.
I feel good about them. But when you're talking about, hey, we're good, we got another playmaker. You got Boogie down talking about he's better than Mark Andrews. Man, you can never project somebody to be that good. You can say, hey, I think we got a starter here. That's reasonable. But somebody that's a top 3 at their position, you're gonna have to prove that first. I'm not going to just give that to you. You have to prove that first. And the day after Isaiah Likely went off, we see somebody with some real talent.
Yeah.
All right. Natural talent. I'm not saying Isaiah Likely is good, but natural talent in Kyle Pitts. Right. You watch this man catch a 53-yard pass on an outside corner, juke the corner. That's somebody that can play wide receiver, and that man is scary.
Yeah. And Isaiah Likely's not that, and that's okay. He doesn't need to be. He's been very, very good through the preseason. He's caught all 12 of his targets. Yep. He was making plays in both games, and I think he is going to be a solid contributor in his rookie year. But that doesn't mean that you don't need outside talent still.
Yeah.
Now, hopefully, they can get the most out of Demarcus Robinson. And Rashad Bateman shows up. They get a career-type year out of Demarcus Robinson, and they can get by, leaning on Bateman, Andrews, Likely, and Robinson, and have that be enough. But that, remains to be seen.
Hold on a second. What's up, living legend? Today is it Tanja's birthday today? He said prelated. When's your birthday, Tanja? Is it today? Is it tomorrow? Well, happy birthday either way, Tanja.
Yes, happy birthday, Tanja.
Mr. J the 6 says, "Will never forgive my franchise." Talking about the Panthers for giving Cam wide receivers leg do not need. Oh man, leg do not need. Brenton Burson, Jericho Cotchery, Philly Brown, and just saying make it work. All right. Yeah. How many Ravens fans know who those people are? We sit here hyping up Prochet. How many of you know who Brenton Burson is? All right. How many of you know who Philly Brown is? Okay. That's the level of wide receiver that we have right now. I can't even just say James Prochet. We got a bunch of those guys on the team right now.
Well, Andre says, I hate to say it, but I'm not feeling the Demarcus Robinson signing. Why not? I mean, I understand not being like excited about it, but like you're down on him.
Yeah, I mean, look, it was always going to be that caliber of signing, right? There's nobody else to sign right now. Will Fuller?
Yes, there is. Odell.
Well, yes, I would love to see that, but nobody expects us to do that, right? Mm-hmm. But from the choices that we think the Ravens will make, Will Fuller.
They say they're still interested in T.Y. Hilton.
Of course they are. They wanted him last year.
And that brings into what we talked about before. If they they've brought in Demarcus Robinson already. If they bring in another vet wide receiver, that's when you can start talking about who may get cut. Whether you're talking about Prochet, whether you're talking about Tylan Wallace or whoever, because then you get into the point of how many wide receivers are they going to keep. Now it may be that T.Y. Hilton ends up getting cut, but at that point you got to have the conversation.
I don't see Prochet playing for us this season, right? I'm altering what I say a little bit. I say he's going to cut.
That's a little different there.
Yeah, I'm altering what I say. I think because he got hurt, he had a good training camp. So I think I was already wrong right there. I think he was going to make the team at that point. And shout out to Suge. I'm going to read this in a second. Yeah, we're going to get to that. He had a good shot at making the team as long as he had a good preseason and shine better than the other guys are out there. If he didn't have a good preseason, he just looked all right. He looked like one of the other guys, and then somebody like Demarcus Robinson comes in and takes snaps away, and then they sign T.Y. Hilton. Yeah, writing's on the wall. He's toast. Yeah. But he had a good training camp, and then he got hurt, and I think they want to keep him around. But I think they already decided that they want to bring in one or two vets, right? And they want to keep some of these young guys like Shamar Bridges. I think they want to keep Shamar Bridges. They probably want to keep Polk or one of these other guys. So they're gonna make room for those guys, and they're gonna say we don't really need Prochet, right? Like Prochet is we're not expecting that much for production from Prochet. So we can hide him on IR. Speaking of IR, Living Legend says IR Hilton. Yeah, that's where he likes to hang out at. So Coach Evans says hashtag no TY.
Wow, y'all are just
I hear you. Look, I hear you guys, but
Andre responded here. He said he's not talking about Demarcus Robinson. He's not really better than anyone we already have. I assume. I rather Will Fuller and definitely OBJ. I agree with you on those two guys. I'm going to disagree about him not being better than the guys who have done nothing in the NFL.
That's the thing.
He does have some production. He has made plays in the league. He has been a better wide receiver than Duvernay, Wallace, and Prochet have. Not particularly good, but he has been better than those guys.
Yes. Yeah. That's the problem that we had with this roster. This is why, it was an issue just letting, just trading away Hollywood and not having an answer for his replacement. And shout out to Anonymous says, how many starts will Mr. Mayfield had in 2022? This is a good way to segue into the Panthers. Panthers versus Bills. All right. Now, Baker Mayfield is your starter. And as soon as he was named starter, B, he had his worst practice ever.
Sure did. He sure did. So he settled in. He said, "This is the Baker show now." They said he was spraying the ball all over the field. He was throwing picks. He was being Baker. He was doing Baker things. In terms of how many, God damn it, how many games he's going to start? Assuming he's healthy. He's going to start all 17 games.
Okay.
Matt Corral is on IR now. He's out for the year. We all know what we've got in Sam Darnold. There's no need to revisit that. The only player who could possibly get in is PJ Walker, and that would be a fireable offense.
B, I'm going to give you guys a hot take here. Okay, I'm going to give you a hot take. And when it happens, I just want you guys to remember who said it first. Because a lot of things have happened over the last couple of years that you've heard here first. But people take credit for it. And we say, that's fine. That's fine. All right. But this one, when it happens, just know you heard it from this guy right here. Okay. Here's what's going to happen. Baker Mayfield is going to start the first few games playing really well because he's going to have they get the book of cliches out. Book of cliches. Chip on his shoulder. Yes, he's going to have the chip right here on his shoulder. Okay. And he's gonna go out there and he's going to light it up, especially against Cleveland with no Deshaun Watson. You can go ahead and mark that down as a W right now. I'm calling it. They're gonna beat Cleveland. He's gonna be feeling dangerous. He's gonna be looking dangerous. All right. It might be like Sam Darnold last year where you get like a 3-game win streak. And we're gonna be sitting here like, oh well, maybe Baker. Then it's gonna cool off. He's gonna feel comfortable. People are gonna be hyping him up again, and he's gonna be like, "Yes, finally the respect." Now I can go back to being a bum, right? And he's gonna struggle. He'll have his up and down games, and I think the minute you guys hit that losing streak, 3 or 4 game losing streak, that's gonna be it for Matt Rule. I think Ben McAdoo takes over, and David Tepper steps in once again and says, bring us Cam Newton. Okay. I don't like the dip in ticket sales. All right. There was almost a march right outside of my stadium last year. All right. Cam Newton saved me once. Cam Newton can save me twice. Let Cam Newton finish the season with Ben McAdoo. Cam Newton will finish the season, B.
It's not going to happen, man.
He'll finish the season and he will finish his career a Panther. Yes.
I don't think he's going to fire Matt Rule midseason. I think he's going to make him coach out the whole year.
It's not a bad take, Shook. Just saying now is a bad take. Not a bad take. That's a good take. That's a hot take. All right.
I think that maybe he gets fired towards the end of the year. A couple weeks left and give him a little jump on the hiring process. But I don't think he gets fired early in the season. I think they've made their Baker bed and they're going to lay in it all year. So it kind of is what it is.
I want to say this. Look, Brandon's saying clip it out. Okay. All right. Look, listen. Clip this out. You clip this out. When I said last year that Lamar Jackson should get 4 years, $200 million fully guaranteed, he should be making $50 million per year. There are a lot of people saying, nah, that's not too much. Jose, you're crazy. He's not going to get that much. Now, I'm telling you, if they don't get him signed by week 1, we're talking about $60 million per year. Okay. Yeah, shout out to Huddle Up Films. Thanks for coming through. Says LBHT crew. Yeah, thanks for coming through. Make sure you subscribe over to them. They do a show with our man Garnett right after this show.
I'm more in line with Mr. J here.
Cam is not saying that to you guys.
I think he's been burned twice by the Panthers. I don't think he'd want to come back.
Listen, Tepper's gonna do the same thing he did last time. He's gonna fly him out on a private jet. He said, "Let's go get some Bojangles. All right, let's take a tour around the stadium, and I will get on my hands and knees and beg you. In fact, I'll have Matt Rule get on his hands and knees and beg you. That's what he did last time, right? He called Matt Rule to the house and said, "Now beg," right?" He's going to do that this time. He's going to have Matt Rule and Ben McAdoo get on their hands and knees and beg, and then he's going to tell Matt Rule, "Now get out and clean out your desk," right? And Cam will say, "Okay," because Cam's a good guy. Cam is a good guy,
and it's just that he's a good guy. And he's not going to go back to that situation. But we do have our guy Derek here. Getting ready for some lunch money bet so we can save the rest of the Panthers talk for afterwards.
Okay, all right. And we got KD's story to talk about. I saw that shit. We're gonna get to the KD story. All right, but right now it's time for you gambling degenerates to get your pen and papers ready. And also, if you're new to it, right? If sports betting is becoming legal where you're at and you have questions and you want to get into it, put your questions in a comment. Our guy D Weezy can answer those questions. Derek, what is going on, my friend? How are we doing?
We're doing all right. I just got finished sweating out a game under in the San Diego game, which came through.
Okay. All right. So what we got today?
Well, going in tonight, I do, and Buck, you might want to close your ears. This ain't anything against Buck, but for whatever reason, about the past 3 weeks in a row, the Diamondbacks have been involved in one play or another, and tonight I'm going to be going with the money line on the Royals. They're slight underdog coming into this. I got it at plus 115. I'm still seeing the number around there. The short and neat version, I just think the Royals are going to come through tonight. Zach Gallen, the pitcher for the Diamondbacks, struggled against them in his last outing against the Royals. And I think we might see a repeat performance of that. My next play going into tonight, for those that know, they see the flag in the back, Liga MX, we back going strong, folks. Club America's up in them standings. Zio, we might want to, look away because that score the other night, 7-0 ain't pretty in a soccer game. But yes, I'm going to be going to Pumas over. Let me double check just to make sure I'm telling you right. Excuse me. Yes, it's Tigres versus Pumas. I'm going to be going with Tigres in the money line. Now, that's a 3-way market where you do have the draw as a playable option. But I'm going with the outright winner in Tigres at plus 126. And, those are my plays for tonight.
All right. Now, what is the over-under? Let me ask you this. Are there any bets on Kevin Durant? Because we'll be talking some Kevin Durant here in a second, okay? KD says, it's all good, guys. I'm staying home, okay? I'm staying home. Brooklyn, we back. Are there any bets on him staying through the full season or still getting traded by a trade deadline? What's the word out there? I know I put you on the spot, but I want to know if you got your ear to the street, if you're hearing anything.
Everything I've heard has basically said that Brooklyn doesn't want to move KD. That's the short version. So as far as books putting anything out there, I haven't seen anything or heard much. You may see something come about as you get closer to the NBA season starting up. There's all sorts of different props they could throw out there. Is he on the roster for the Nets come the trade deadline? An over-under on how many games he plays for the Nets. That's something that's going to vary from sportsbook to sportsbook. But that's something you can keep your eyes open for couple years back, as a Panthers fan, just having insight on the Julio Jones situation and how that was going, I came across a prop, Julio Jones to be traded by the deadline in that season. I was wrong. He was traded in the following offseason. So, there can be some legitimacy behind some of these props or, numbers you might see referring to a specific player staying with the team or moving on or something to that effect.
Okay. And shout out to Money Making Mitch. He says, how many games would you recommend doing on a parlay every week when the NFL season starts?
Me personally, I like sticking with something around 3 to 4. If you're just strictly playing the money line, it allows you might be able to mix in a slightly heavier favorite where you're looking at odds maybe closer to minus 200 and not having to lean on underdogs to help drive up the odds and something like that. But at the same time, if you have a tough matchup where there's not really an underdog in the game, it gives you a little flexibility. You're not stuck trying to find games that are priced a little bit lower. It's a bit of the same logic behind what I've mentioned with my round robin bet on the boxing plays, where you have one fighter that's priced, minus 300, minus 400 by itself. You don't really have much value there because the off chance of them losing, if you're $100 better, you lost 400 trying to make 100. So when you can get those odds more in your favor, I think 3-4 games you can definitely find some good odds. Now, if you put together something like a 6 or 7 or even an 8-game parlay, you can see those odds jump up. But I think more luck's involved once you start reaching into that territory.
All right. Raven Ron says, went to the Mariners game last night, and like a degenerate, I bet on them and won. Okay. Degenerate Ron's bets: Baltimore money line, Arizona KC,
first 5 under 3.5.
First 5 under 3.5. There you go. Thank you. LA Dodgers run line and Jays Red Sox over 9. Your thoughts, D Weezy?
Well, first of all, see, if Ron was watching the video on Backyard Action Media today, he know I'm already riding with the Baltimore Orioles money line. As I said, I do like Kansas City in that game. I don't know if I hadn't looked at the matchup as far from a first 5 perspective. That's essentially a first half type play on a baseball game. So the same way you might look to play a first half spread in a basketball game or a football game, that's essentially what he's referring to there. But I definitely think the under is a possibility. You have 2 struggling offenses. Maybe the pitchers coming out fare better than I was thinking, and you see a little bit of action in the first half of that game. Jays, Red Sox, over 9. I think the Jays can make that happen. The Red Sox, they've been a struggling offense. They hadn't been able to figure things out. Since coming back from the All-Star break, they had some things going for them, but since that break, they just seemed to fall apart. So if the over's to hit in that game, I wouldn't be shocked if it's a 5-6 to 3, something around that score. But yeah, you're going to need some offense out of the Blue Jays in that game to make that happen.
All right. Okay. Look, that was Lunch Money Bets. If you want more, D Weezy, let them know where they can find more of these hot bets so they can make some money.
Yes, you can get at me at Backyard Action Media. You can also reach me on Twitter at dweatherly90. And you see at the bottom of the page, Patreon, BAM News. You want to sign up, you can get even more access and make requests on specific games or for specific analysis.
All right. You can also find D Weezy. Oh, I'm sorry. What do you want to say, B?
Oh, no, I was just going to say real quick before you go, Derek, what are your thoughts on the Panthers' third preseason game against Buffalo? What are you looking at there? What are you hoping to see out of the Panthers?
Really at this point, you're just looking to see a lot of communication continuity. Not necessarily the play was productive in the sense that the completion was made or you picked up a chunk play, but are people handling their responsibilities? Do people know their assignments? Are people where they're supposed to be? Did you beat yourself, or did your guy beat you, or did just the play beat you? Did the quarterback make a perfect pass, or did you give the wide receiver that space to make the catch? It was already announced that we won't see the starters for the Buffalo Bills in that last game against the Panthers. So I wouldn't be shocked if you saw a similar approach, even if a lot of the starters or first stringers are out there. They'll be pulled, maybe a couple series in.
Well, from what I read, they're saying that they want to play the starters into the early second quarter, which I thought was kind of ridiculous and a byproduct of you wasting a bunch of first-team reps on Sam Darnold and wasting those left tackle reps on Brady Christensen.
No, I think he was saying that the Bills weren't starting theirs.
Right, they're not playing their starters at all. Yeah. The Panthers are saying they're going to play their starters through the first quarter.
Yeah. Well, but you're right. You're right.
Seems a bit silly.
No, you're right. You wasted time not getting Ekwonu up to speed, and now you're trying to hurry up and do that. It's silly. It's silly. Are there any? I want to ask you too. Are there any Isaiah Likely type players that you have on your radar? Offense or defense?
Well, I will say one name that stuck out in the earlier part of the offseason OTAs. I think he got a little injured, but CJ Henderson may be one to keep an eye out for. Especially in the OTAs, he was locking up the wide receiver core pretty well. Definitely on DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson, even when Marshall was out there. So I know there's been a lot of talk on him in the past, just the way the acquisition went down and how he was acquired. But he could be a player to watch out for in the DB core.
Okay. What do you guys think about Brandon Smith, the linebacker from Penn State? He had that crushing sack.
Yeah, he's extremely athletic. I think it's going to be maybe several years before he turns into a linebacker.
Oh, okay.
That can really play on the NFL level. But we'll see.
And then the corner who got that pick 6. You think he'll make the team? He's been making some plays. What's his name?
Tay
Hayes. Tay Hayes. Yeah.
Personally, I think he's a little bit of a long shot. I think Carolina is pretty good in the secondary. I think it's going to be tough for him to make it, but not impossible.
I think his best case scenario might be a practice squad route.
Right.
Maybe makes the 53-man roster during the season if you get injuries on your special teams front or a situation like that.
He's definitely coming for it, though.
All right.
You like to see it.
All right. Look, you want more of this, okay? We have a Lunch Money Bets channel on our Discord, okay? That's D Weezy's channel. You can chat it up with him about Panthers. He also writes Panthers articles on our website, LBHTShow.com. All right. And he hangs out with us on the Overtime Show, which starts right after this show. So D Weezy, thank you very much, my friend, and we will see you shortly.
All right, everybody, take care out there.
All right. Yes. All right. So I mentioned before the Overtime Show and the Discord, 2 places or 2 things that you get for being a patron member. Right. So sign up right below here, patreon.com/LBHT Show. We have a few tiers that we want to tell you about, and B is going to tell you about those tiers right now.
Yeah, so we have the $3 tier, which gets you entrance into our NFL Pick'em League, where we give away a custom LBHT trophy, which I just realized we're going to have to change this year.
Yeah. So our previous winners, there's our guy, Coach Jay. All right, that was the first winner, and our current champion, Mr. Mikey, OTR Mikey. And yes, we are gonna have to change because we have some things that's in the works. We're gonna let you guys know about that soon. All right. Yes. Very excited about that.
We also have the $10 tier, which will get you into our fantasy football league. If you are interested in playing in a redraft league, head over to patreon.com and sign up. We'll get that going real soon. That will also get you the ability to request specific content, whether we're talking about articles or videos. We still, Zaul, man, I'm so sorry. We got to get that Knicks video. We're gonna do it tonight during the OT. We're gonna talk some Knicks. We're gonna clip it out, and that'll be for Zaul.
Did he want Knicks or did he want?
He said on Twitter he wanted a. I'm not going to repeat the way he said it because I mean Knicks fans are just delusional. But he wants to talk about the Knicks coming up this season.
All right, yeah, okay, yeah. We'll get to go.
So we also have a $20 tier, which is a combined tier for this show and our boxing podcast that we do with OTR Mike, which and I'm sorry, the $10 tier also gets you the LBHT crew coin that Jose has there. The $20 tier will get you all of that plus our custom poker set featuring our top 25 fighters of all time. We did a 5-part series on Ring Kings. It's a great conversation. We had several guests on there. Go check it out if you haven't seen it. And all of the channels or all of the tiers will get you into the Overtime Show as well as the Discord channel.
All right. And also the merch. Look, the merch is going to be changing here soon, guys.
Okay. In fact, if you look down right now, you'll see some of the new merch.
Yes, look down on your screen. Look down, and you'll see. Yes, that is our Raven City, Baltimore Raven City edition gear. Okay, get you a shirt, get you an apron. Shout out to Ferris. All right, Master Chef Ferris.
Stickers, water bottles, all kinds of stuff on there.
Yeah. And also this soon to be classic merch. Okay, we're not gonna have it up much longer, but go over to lbhtshow.com/shop and get you some of that stuff while you still can. Okay, we're gonna be doing a lot of revamping here pretty soon, and we hope that you like the changes. All right, okay, let's get back into it, man. My stream has been real choppy over here. I am not happy with StreamYard. Okay, I'm not happy with StreamYard right now. All right. I just want to remind you guys, if you ever hear us, if you ever see the day where we're sponsoring StreamYard, just so you know, you know, and we know, we done came up.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So we're going to get they ready to get right back into some Ravens talk. I know it. But we got to talk about KD. All right, we're gonna talk a little bit about it. I'm gonna put out another video later on where I can give you you can get my clear face, my clear facial expression. All right, but Kevin Durant, yesterday, him and the Nets reported that or announced that they agreed to the deal that was already in place. Yes. That Kevin Durant will stay with the Brooklyn Nets. Okay, now a few thoughts on this. Good for the Nets for holding the ground. I am not pro establishment. You guys know that I am not that guy. I am not pro owner. I'm not pro establishment at all. But as a Nets fan, right? It's not about Joe Tsai not giving in to the player. I don't care about that. As a Nets fan, the organization, they cannot get punked by these other teams. Okay. Because what you had was a situation where you had some diva players and KD and Kyrie that kind of just like, oh, maybe don't want to be here anymore. Okay, whatever. It is what it is. You want to be here, you want to be here. But we're going to get proper value for you, right? Nobody wanted to give the Nets proper value because they looked at the Nets like some chumps, right? They thought, hey, we can go in there and give them nothing and we'll get KD.
I mean, to be fair, the Nets have been on the losing end of two of the worst trades in NBA history.
So. Yes, but this shows you the change in culture. It shows you that this isn't the same Nets front office. And they said, you're going to give us what we want or you're not getting him. And even though KD and his camp tried to force the issue, right? Because that's what it is when he is making a demand about, get rid of Sean Marks and get rid of Steve Nash. And then I'll think about staying. That's just a ploy because they know Joe Tsai ain't gonna fire him, right? That's just him trying to force their hand. And they said, we're not gonna do that. And you're not going anywhere unless we get exactly what we want for you, right? So now he said, all right, I tried, and it is what it is. Now, I want to ask you, B, do you think this is something that they actually made up and KD has truly rescinded his trade request, or is it just we're playing nice until we can get your trade value back up and then we'll get you out of here?
It really kind of depends to me. Like, if they are still looking to move Kyrie, which the talk is they're not, right? The talk is they're kind of done with that and they're just bringing the team back. If that's the case, then I'll believe they all came together, they had a talk, and it's all good now. If they are still entertaining Kyrie talks, then I'll think, hey, we're just not seeing the offers that we want right now. You're going to have to stay here for a few more months, and we'll move you closer to the trade deadline. If I had to guess right now, I would say they're probably made up, and he's over his little hissy fit and realizes that he's not going to find a better situation than Brooklyn. Like Andre Pierce is talking about they've got a pretty good team overall. Yes, they have probably the best team overall talent-wise in the NBA if they keep Durant and Kyrie, because you also got to remember they're getting just for free. They're getting Joe Harris and Ben Simmons this year. So you're talking about a very top-heavy team with Kevin Durant being one of the top 5 players in the world. Kyrie being another all-star, all-NBA type player. Ben Simmons being an all-defensive player. So you have the big three at the top, one of the best big threes in the NBA, and then they are incredibly deep.
And if you look at it, and the thing is, right, Ben Simmons is in a situation where he doesn't have to worry about shooting, right? I mean, Ben Simmons could get buckets, right, in the paint. He just doesn't like to shoot. He doesn't have to, right? He can go in there and just play defense. Him and they trade for Royce O'Neal, right? You can go out there and just play your game. He can distribute the ball. You have shooters. You have Curry. You got Joe Harris, right? And of course you got KD and Kyrie. What are you laughing at, B?
I'm the coach with the hour 15 alert. Thank you, coach.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Yes. Yeah, keep us on time. Thank you very much. But yeah, so they improved on the defense. They also brought back Patty Mills, so that's another shooter, right? They have shooters on top of shooters over there, right? I mean, this is the best case scenario for you because, like I told you when all this started, when KD was making demands, hey, I want to be traded. I want to go to Miami, but only if Butler and Adebayo are there. I want to go to the Suns, but only if you don't trade for Devin Booker, right? I would have told him, you're delusional. I'll trade you. I'll try to get you to one of those places, but I promise you, wherever you go, there will be no super team. Because we're going to
be KD and KD alone.
Right? Like I would have told him, I promise you, if we trade you, there will be no super team where you go because we're going to get everything for you.
I mean, he kind of screwed himself if he really wanted to leave. He screwed himself by saying, I want to play with Marcus Smart. You would have had a super team in Boston. It would have been you and Jason Tatum. You also would have had Malcolm Brogdon and Robert Williams and Grant. Oh man, I can't remember his last name now. It might also be Williams. But yeah, you would have had a great team in Boston. But he wants to play with his friends. That's important to him. So you have to stay in Brooklyn. And like you said, you have two of the greatest scorers ever in Kyrie and Kevin Durant, and you have shooters in Seth Curry,
everybody else.
Seth Curry and Joe Harris, and then you're adding in great defenders in Ben Simmons and Royce O'Neal.
You know what else I didn't mention? TJ Warren.
Yeah, they added TJ Warren as well. They brought back Nick Claxton. So yeah, there isn't a team. There isn't a team that can match up with Brooklyn in terms of talent. It's about whether or not KD and Kyrie can be normal, grown-up human beings and show up and do their job. If they can do that, Brooklyn wins a title.
Mr. J6 says, I'm going to be mad if TJ Warren turns back into the bubble version of himself while he is on the Nets. If he turns back into that guy, a lot of people will be mad.
Well, listen, man, if he's in Brooklyn and he's on the floor with Kevin Durant and Kyrie and Ben Simmons and all these guys, What level of defender do you think TJ Warren is going to be going up against? Right?
Yeah. So, I mean, that's a good point, B. Right? That's a good point. Me personally, I told you this. I think he still wants to go. I think they told him, you gotta play nice for now because we're not trading you unless we get what we want. So you're gonna have to just tone everything down and just go with the program for now. And he said, cool, I'll go with it for now. But KD and Kyrie, man, like they are so fickle, right? Just a year ago, KD signed his 4-year extension. That means it was all good. He wanted to finish his career here. That's what he said. Then a year later, he wants to be traded. He starts playing this year. Kyrie too. They start playing and they get off to a hot start. They could just as easily say, "Oh no, we won't stay. Yeah, we're just joking. Like it's all good, right?"
Yeah.
That could very easily happen. And if that happens, that is bad news for everybody that was trying to trade for him, right? Because you had Boston, Miami, Phoenix, Memphis was the latest team to throw their hats in there. Minnesota, and New Orleans, right? Mm-hmm. Those are the teams that are kind of been named out there, and some of those teams could have really offered some pieces to get KD on the team, but they thought if we all lowball, right? We all lowball. One of us can end up with them for a cheap cost. Toronto was another one. They didn't want to give with Scotty Barnes. I understand that. Scotty Barnes he's a beast. But are you trying to win or not? Right? Because this is when you're training for KD, you're not training for KD to build your team up. You're trying to win.
Yeah. Saying I'm not going to give up Scotty Barnes or I'm not going to give up Brandon Ingram or I'm not going to give up Marcus Smart is just like Baltimore saying, no, I'm not going to give up Isaiah Likely for Travis Kelce. Not going to do it.
Right.
Just not going to do it.
So they played around and now and they thought, hey, they're going to be forced to do it. They're going to be forced to do it. And now all of a sudden they're staying. And even if this plays out to where Kevin Durant still wants to get traded, they're still looking to trade him. All these teams aren't going to sit there and wait. Somebody's going to get nervous and say, man, we got to get him. Like, we don't know what's going on. All right, look, we'll give you what you want. We'll give you what you want, right? If you're Boston and you're the team that doesn't get him because of Marcus Smart,
right?
Yeah, major L.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, everyone, please hit that like for the guys. Appreciate you, Don C. Thank you very much. Smash that like button. If you are new here, hit that subscribe button. All right, we do this show every Wednesday night at 7:15 p.m. and we are going to get into the bonus time. This is an hour show, people. It's an hour show, but we like to spend a few extra minutes doing bonus time. We're doing good right now. We're about 7 minutes over. All right, we get the bonus time started, and then if you want some more, go over to patreon.com/LBHT Show. That's where we do the overtime show. Okay. Look, put your comments in there. Okay. You want to get back into some Ravens talk? We can get into some Ravens talk. You want to talk Panthers? You want to talk UFC? Whatever you want to talk about, throw it in there and let's get it going. Let's see. What did Mikey say about Buddy Hield? He says Lakers got to go get Buddy Hield and Miles Turner now.
You got to try.
Yeah.
I mean, and again, it's just like you're talking about with these other teams, right? The Lakers screwed themselves. Oh, yeah, maybe we can hold on to this one absolutely worthless first-round pick for from 5 years from now. And maybe we can keep that and still get Kyrie. And now you got nothing. You're gonna get Buddy Hield? Buddy Hield? All right, cool.
Yeah. Okay. Raven Ron wants to know how long DeMarcus Robinson needs to play in his third preseason game. The whole game.
He don't need to play long.
He needs to play the whole game. He needs to play the whole game, B. He's not elect to make this team.
Everybody knows what DeMarcus Robinson can do. He can go out there and just get his feet wet, get some reps in, and get out of the game.
Is DeMarcus Robinson a lock to make this team?
I mean, he should be. I don't know that he is because Baltimore is Baltimore, but he should be.
I think he needs to be out there and get all the snaps. He needs to go out there. This is the only preseason game he's had with us. He's had one or two practices with us. He needs to play. I agree.
Unlike the rest of the guys,
game, I agree.
Unlike the rest of the guys in Baltimore, he is a professional wide receiver. The guys who need to play the whole game, their name Shamar Bridges, their name Mekhi Polk, their name I was going to say Bailey Gaither, but they already cut him. Their name Raleigh Webb. they have what? They had 9 wide receivers on the roster, right? So that means there's 4 guys who have no real business being on the team, and those are the guys who need to play.
I'm not saying to prove himself. I'm saying to get the reps, right?
Yeah, no, I understand he needs reps, but you don't want to expose him to injury in a game with people who are going to be going 120% trying to make the roster.
Right.
He needs to go out there and play a few series, like I said, get his feet wet, get some live game action, and then get out. He'll get reps in practice, and then you can ease him in during the early part of the season if need be.
Yeah. Well, no, we need him up to speed. He's our number 2. we need him to go right now. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Listen, guys. I mean, James Prochet isn't playing anytime soon.
Andre says no, he ain't that good. Andre, I need you to pull up the Baltimore Ravens wide receiver depth chart. All right, because all the rest of them are worse.
Let me ask you guys. Okay, this has nothing. I'm not even talking about skill here. James Prochet, when do you think he's coming back? Right, because John Harbaugh said it was a little soft tissue issue. Now they're floating out there as a hamstring thing. Could miss a few weeks. There's been no talk about James Prochet practicing or any timetable for him coming back. When do you guys think he's actually going to come back and play? All right, because I feel like he might miss a couple of weeks of the regular season.
Yeah, our guy Mills, he said that he's definitely in question for week 1. He said he thinks he may have partially torn his hamstring. But that's just that's his speculation. He doesn't know for sure, but yeah, I mean, it's always more serious than John Harbaugh says. Always.
Always, man. Always. Like, so much so when he says something, you just add a few weeks. I always add a few weeks in my head when he says he might be out 2 or 3 weeks. All right, so he's gonna be out like 6 weeks.
Dre, it's funny. I see the laughing emoji there. You asked me if he moves the needle. Sadly, I think he does in Baltimore. Of a very, very little bit. But you're talking about the difference between having, a competent wide receiver out there and Devin Duvernay. So yes, I think he does move the needle a very, very, very little bit.
Okay, all right. Don C says, Brodny and Jose, why does Matt Rule not start his draft picks? He let Ike Ekwonu run the 2s most of the camp. Now he wants him to feature right, and he's an idiot.
Yeah, you answered it in your question. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's in way over his head. And he's trying to dig his way out of a hole. It's the same thing with Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold. Why you had Sam Darnold last year? He was your starter. He was a starter all season, right? And you brought in 2 quarterbacks to replace him. So why would he be battling for the number 1 job? But you did that. You wasted a whole bunch of reps doing that. And he's wasting reps on Brady Christensen when everybody knows the ideal O-line is Ekwonu at left tackle and Christensen at left guard. But you're just wasting time. You're wasting time with Pat Elflein at center, as opposed to the guy you signed to be your starting center, Bradley Bozeman. So, yeah, it's just he doesn't know what he's doing.
Because he's a college coach. He's an amateur coach. He thinks this is going to spark competition, right? You can't just give him the job. Yes, you can. You drafted him that high because it's his job. Now it's your job to make sure he is ready for week 1. And you don't do that. You sign Bradley Bozeman to be your starting center. You don't go out there and just and waste time not getting these guys ready. Now, if somebody else just is playing so well, is performing so well OTAs and training camp and playing well in preseason games, you're just like, hey, I gotta kick the tires. I gotta make sure, do my due diligence and make sure he's ready to, he might not be the better person. That's one thing. But Ekwonu is the starter, right? You already saw what you have in Brady Christensen. Okay. And Brady Christensen has stepped his game up. Let him prove that with the 2s, not the 1s.
Well, no, he's going to be with the 1s. It's going to be at left guard. That's where he needs to be.
Yeah.
And listen, Dre, you can say stop it all you want, I'm going to tell you, talk about, because I said that Demarcus Robinson moves the needle a little bit. You can say stop it all you want, but I'm going to tell you to stop pretending that Prochet and Devin Duvernay and Tylan Wallace and Shamar Bridges make any difference at all. They are not professional wide receivers. They're not starting wide receivers in the NFL.
Well, okay. Well, I mean, I guess I want to ask Andre this. I mean, do you think any of those other guys move the needle? Right. I mean, I know we all disagree on Prochet, right? I think Andre thinks Prochet moves the needle a little bit, but do you think, do you think Prochet is the number 2? Because I don't think anybody's talking about Prochet being the number 2, right? We're talking about Devin Duvernay. Do you think Devin Duvernay moves the needle? I mean, I don't. And shout out to Anonymous says Mr. Jackson signing. What's the chances? Percentage that Mr. Jackson signs week 1. Listen, we didn't talk about this.
I'm still staying. I'm gonna bump it up. I'm not even gonna stay at 0. I'm gonna bump it up to 0.5.
I'm saying 70%.
Wow.
I'm saying 70%. I think they are very close. Again, everybody's demeanor is very laid back. I think they are very close to a deal done. Possibly even the deal might be done. They just haven't announced it yet. They haven't made it official. But I think they're going to do it, because if they don't, if they're still not close, I don't think John Harbaugh would be able to contain himself. I think, well, I mean, EDC, he's a robot, so he might be able to, but you might even see him sweat a little bit. But Steve Bisciotti definitely would be able to contain himself. You would see it all over their faces that, man, if we don't get this guy signed, like there's no upside to waiting this out and tagging him next year. Okay, you tag him next year. The Ravens don't like having that much salary cap eaten up, right? You're talking about what, close to $40 million eaten up that you just can't, you got to pay it all at once. So they don't want to do that. If you're trying to work out a deal with him next year, it's more than $50 million per year. It's more than the $250 million that he's reportedly asking for, right?
Right. But I think that, they're not panicked because they know they have Lamar under control regardless. He can't be gone. He can't leave. And I don't think if the deal was close, I don't think if they were close on a deal, I don't think you'd be seeing them leaking out negotiation terms or contract terms to the media. They wouldn't be out there trying to put pressure on them. Like, oh man, look how much we offered him. We offered him more than Kyler. This dude said no. What's wrong with him? I don't think they'd be doing that if they were close. I think it's laid back because on one hand, Lamar is not worried. Lamar's making $23 million this year. Lamar's going to get franchised next year and make a ton of money, and they know that they're not going to lose Lamar. So, they're kind of slow playing. Just hey, yeah, it's fine. But I don't think they'll get it done by week 1.
That would be a huge mistake on their part. And shout out to Anonymous for another donation, man. Appreciate you. Says percentages that Mr. Robinson becomes wide receiver 2. Now we're talking.
I'm gonna say it's it becomes or stays. If it becomes, I'm gonna say it's about 75%. If it's gonna be, what are the chances that he stays the wide receiver 2 all season? I'm gonna say it's lower. I'm gonna say maybe 45%.
So, what do we define as number 2, right? That there's just the second guy on the outside?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I think he could be, just because he's more natural outside wide receiver than Duvernay, right? That he could be in that role, but Duvernay could be like the number 2 in targets. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Does that make sense? I think because I don't see Duvernay as an outside wide receiver. That's why
I don't think Duvernay will be. I don't think he's gonna get that many targets. I really don't. I think you're gonna see Demarcus Robinson and Rashad Bateman. And the thing is, and this is sort of what Andre's alluding to right here. He says we don't know yet. Plus, I mean, you do know. You're in denial. You know what those guys are. But we don't know yet. Plus, Robinson played in a passing offense. Our offense hasn't been that. Robinson has never had a 500-yard season. I'm good on him. Let them other guys play if that's the option. Yeah, he played in a passing offense. Everybody likes to throw that out there. But he was also the 4th or 5th option in that passing offense.
Yes.
So, it kind of is what it is. But you're saying let them other guys play. Prochet's played. Duvernay's played. I mean, Tylan Wallace, he was a rookie last year and he was hurt for some of the season. Those other guys, I mean, if your argument is going to be, hey man, let's just let's just pick some dudes up off the street and throw them out there and see what happens. Cool, I guess.
Marcus Robinson should be in the mix, right? Like, yeah,
that would not be my plan. But I don't run the Baltimore Ravens, so
yeah. I mean, I don't want to hear that either. Like, let those guys play. Duvernay and Prochet go into their third year. We know what they are, right? And I'm not even saying like cut them, but like we need better than that, right?
Yeah.
We're talking about the number 2 spot. None of those guys, nobody on this team is moving me for the number 2 spot. I don't care what name you throw out there. I mean, whether it's Robinson, Duvernay, Prochet, Tyler Wallace, I don't feel good about any of those guys at number 2. We are in bad shape at wide receiver.
They are.
Off the Record podcast, OTR Mike says Robinson will start because of his blocking abilities. I don't know. Can he block? I mean, I didn't see Kansas City run that much. This isn't true, Andre Mears. He says Tyreek has been hurt, so he's had opportunity. Tyreek is the number 1 option. Then you had Travis Kelce. Then you had Mecole Hardman. Then you had you got Byron Pringle. So what are the names so far? 4?
Yeah. And you say that Baltimore hasn't been a passing offense. They were 9th in pass attempts last year. 9th in the league.
Yeah, I mean.
So, I mean, so you can say, oh, he had his option or he had his chance. So did Prochet. So did Duvernay. And you saw what they gave you.
I don't want to get into a deep debate over these guys. None of these guys have been over 500 yards. You're saying Robinson hasn't been over 500 yards. Like Prochet has 200 total yards for his career.
He's been over 400 a couple times. Back to you, Devin.
But I don't even want to do that argument. This is all bad. Okay.
Yeah. Listen, yeah, we absolutely agree with you, Andre, that the answer is going and getting Odell Beckham, and to a lesser extent, if he wants to go to Buffalo or he wants to go back to LA, go and get Will Fuller and see if you can keep him healthy for a year. The answer is not DeMarcus Robinson. The answer is not Duvernay and Prochet and these guys. Just
hold on, I couldn't remember. Mikey said he was blocking for Tyreek Hill. Should say get into a debate, Jose. We're all here for it. No. I know what you're trying to do, shit. Okay. Hashtag no 2 hours. We're wrapping this up. We're reading a couple more comments and then we are out of here. Okay. Yeah. Yes, Andre said I'm not debating with y'all. Thank you, Andre. This is a ridiculous argument. Okay, we're not gonna. I don't want to debate third and fourth options. Which one's better?
I love talking about how bad the Ravens receivers are. We can keep this up,
man. No.
You know what y'all should do? Y'all should call up Carolina and see if you can get CJ Saunders. He's been killing it in camp last 2 years.
Easy E says I'm okay with Pro in the slot. That's it. Would you rather Pro or would you rather Duvernay? I think Duvernay's more of a playmaker. All right. Let's see. Andre Mir says Duvernay is a utility in special teams. Yes, agree. Obviously, he's a special teamer, right?
Yeah.
He's all pro special teamer.
Great special teamer.
Yes.
Yeah. Next draft, we got to get another guy, especially a big body guy. Gonna say it again, Andre. I agree that you gotta go out and get another receiver, but I'm gonna say it again. Every chance we get, size is
not a skill. Yes. Shout out to Emory Hunt. Size is not a skill. We are too set on this big body guy.
Listen, Andre, man. You don't want to start talking about CMC because there's about 30 dudes on your team we can talk about.
Listen,
starting with who's going to be protecting Lamar Jackson because it ain't Ronnie Stanley.
Hey, Ronnie Stanley is working out individually. John Harbaugh said, I saw him with my eyes and he looks good.
And he looks great, which means John ain't seen that man in months.
Which means John saw him. Which means John saw him in the hospital. He's finally breathing on his own. We're hoping to get him out, discharged soon.
Harbaugh saw that man on Madden 23. It was like, man, he was playing great.
If you hear John Harbaugh give an injury update, whatever it is, add at least 3 weeks to it. Prochet got hurt. Prochet hasn't played in the preseason, guys. Okay. We're going into week 3. before the game, week 1, he said Prochet has soft tissue injury. It would be about 3 weeks. I think that's what he said.
No,
he
said 1 to 2.
Okay, 1 to 2 weeks. We're going to week 3. There is no mention of Prochet returning. Okay.
No end in sight.
So questionable for week 1. Probably won't play. So you're talking about maybe week 2, maybe week 3. Whatever he says, you add 3 weeks to it.
You know, right? I just caught up on Hard Knocks, and Dan Campbell is outstanding. You know, this is the first time Hard Knocks has been good in several years. But yeah, I really like Dan Campbell. I really like the coaching staff he put together. It's all former players. You got Aaron Glenn, Deuce Staley, Mark Brunell, Hank Fraley, a lot of guys there. But I'm gonna reference something that he said in one of those episodes because it applies to Baltimore's wide receiver core too. It was a quote from a Metallica song, "No Leaf Clover." He said that soothing light at the end of the tunnel is really a freight train coming at you. Okay, because that's what's happening right now. Y'all telling yourself about Shamar Bridges making these contested catches. Oh, and Duvernay, he's going to be out there. He's going to produce. It's going to hit you like a freight train when they start playing against NFL cornerbacks, like who are really trying to stop them. You know? They're trying not to hurt their feelings in practice.
All right, a couple more. We're out of here. E says Duvernay definitely more dangerous, but Pro can be solid on the inside. I agree with you. Andre Mir says give Lamar a guy on the outside with some size. He's going to get his numbers, or his numbers are going to go up. It's not about the size. It's about, can he make plays, right? Can he catch? Can he high point the ball? Can he run sharp routes? Can he get separation? Like, it's not about the size, right? We get too caught up on size. Size is not a skill. We had a big guy here. You guys want him out of here, right? Miles Boykin.
And you know, I'll go back to Carolina again. They had Kelvin Benjamin and Devin Funchess, 6'5" and 6'4".
We got a couple 6'4" guys right now. Benjamin Victor. We got Shamar Bridges. That guy Gaither, I think he's over 6 feet too. I mean, we got guys. That's all we need, right? So we good? No, we're not good. You just cut Devin Williams, the Oregon guy, right? Mr. 4'8", right? Like, we had a bunch of big guys. That doesn't matter. Size doesn't mean anything. Can you play, right? But I hear you though. Like, yes, get him another good wide receiver is your point. Get him another good wide receiver and watch his numbers go up. I agree, right? Yeah. That's why I have a problem with how they're handling this wide receiver room.
Listen, I love Kyle Hamilton as a prospect. I think he's going to be a really good player, but he should not be a Baltimore Raven.
Nope. You want to talk about not moving the needle? Kyle Hamilton doesn't move the needle. I'm sorry. I know that's another hot take, guys. Oh, Kyle Hamilton's going to be great. All right. All right. Let's see how often we talk about Kyle Hamilton. All right. I would love a guy like Metcalf or AJ Brown. No scrubs. I agree.
Yeah, but they're not who they are because they're tall, though. That's the point we're making.
Yeah.
The last really good wide receiver you had was Steve Smith. He's 5'9".
You would love Tyreek Hill? Would you say Tyreek Hill too little?
Those guys too.
Yeah.
Steve Smith plays like DK Metcalf and AJ Brown. He's that tough wide receiver. He's not big. It's not about the size.
What's Anquan Bolden listed at? I think he was listed at 6 feet. But I think he's like 5'11".
I think he's like 5'11". I believe.
I think he's listed at 6 feet.
I'll have to check. Though.
Yeah,
I can't remember.
Sure. He was a tall, right? But he played big.
Yeah.
But again, if we got Tyreek Hill, would you say, no, I give me a big body guy instead?
He's listed at 6'1".
6'1". He wasn't 6'1". Yeah. He was not 6'1". All right. We're getting out of here.
You hope I'm wrong about Hamilton being really good? Why?
No. I said I think he's talking about me saying he doesn't move the needle.
Yeah.
I hope I'm wrong too. I hope I'm wrong about all these wide receivers. I hope they can all ball out. I hope we hit the jackpot a few times, and I can sit here and say, man, they figured it out. You know, Keith Williams, he worked his magic, and we don't have to worry about wide receivers anymore. Okay, like we hit the well a few times, and it's just gonna work out. And our wide receiver room is set for years to come. Shamar Bridges is the man. Gaither, Riley Webb, like we hit on all of them. I hope Prochet. I really want Prochet, guys, to be a Pro Bowler. I want him to go for 1,300 yards and double-digit touchdowns, because all of you that are on the Prochet bandwagon will immediately hop off when we start talking about money. When this guy right here will be saying it's time to pay this man $20+ million per year, and you guys will be saying no way. What has he done? All right. He says they're big. Andre Mir says they're big and physical. I want someone you can throw it up to and be okay with them coming down with it. And of course, I'll take Hill. But in a jump ball situation, I'm taking a guy like Metcalf. You're talking about a good player once again, because
that's not how it works, man.
It's not how it works. Look, if it's about size, we got size on the team, right? So you're not worried, right? No, you're worried. The guys that you're talking about are good players, right? You're not talking. It's not about the size. It's about the skill. Okay, size is not a skill. We have a lot of size on the team right now. And you're not excited about that. All right. So,
right. And again, Steve Smith does not. He does not have the size, but he has every single bit of what you're talking about, and he was better than guys like Metcalf and AJ Brown. It's not the size.
Agreed. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Yes. I know. Prochet goes out there and does anything. You guys are gonna Hulk up on us. I know. All right. We're out of here. That's it. Yes. An hour and a half. Okay. We did it, guys. Hashtag no 2 hours. All right. No 2 hours. We still need to cut it down a little bit, but we're getting there. 1 week at a time. Guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us. If you are new, go ahead and hit that like button and also hit the subscribe button. All right. Thank you to everybody that donated tonight. Shout out to y'all. Really appreciate it. We always said the money that you guys donate, when you buy the merch, you donate, you sign up for Patreon, we put all that money right back into what we're doing, into this podcast, right? And you're about to see what we have in store for you soon. Okay, we got some changes. You already see some of it, right? You look down bottom of your screen, you see some of the merch out there. That's a really nice design. A couple of people have bought it already. They really like it. We're gonna be pushing that. You'll see us wear it on here. Well, you see me wearing it. That's but we have something for the Panthers fans coming as well. If you like that design, we got something in store for the Panthers fan, and we have a whole lot more that's coming out here pretty soon. So, yeah, man, just keep rocking with us, man. I hope you're enjoying the ride, because I know we are. All right, but patrons, give us a couple minutes. We're gonna get this overtime show started. B, are you ready?
I am ready.
All right, everybody else, if you want to be a part of the overtime show, patreon.com/LBHT Show. For as little as $3 a month, you can hang out with us for a little bit longer. But if not, thank you for hanging out with us tonight. Enjoy the rest of your week. Have a safe weekend, and we will see you next time. Peace out.